Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're watching an animated story time about a girl who's homeless and pregnant at the age of 16.
Ever since I was born, my parents completely ignored me, so it's no wonder that I turned out weird.
Oh no, I kind of feel bad for her. Like, she said her parents ignored her. That must be such a hard thing to go for whenever you're younger. Like, it is quite crazy to think how your childhood can really shape you as a person.
When I got into primary school, a girl asked me when my birthday was, and I responded, "What's a birthday?" The girl looked confused, saying, "It's the day you get presents because you turned 1 year older."
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't really know what a birthday was. Like, I don't remember any of my birthdays whenever I was younger. I can remember one in a place called Snakes and Ladders, but like any other birthday, like before that, I literally can't remember them.
I said, "Oh right, I saw that on TV, but my parents don't do that." You see, I was raised by a nanny. She sometimes took me to the playground so I could interact with other kids, but that was rare. Normally, she told me to stay in my room and be quiet.
That's a crap nanny, isn't it? Like, I swear a nanny's literally like a childminder. Americans call them nannies, I call them childminders. I don't know why they're called nannies. What is a nanny? Like, is a nanny a childminder? I mean, either way, I thought they were meant to take care of the child and literally speak to them.
So I never learned how to make friends. Being lonely is incredibly painful. So I was happy when my new classmate Romero approached me inside the school bus, saying, "You look fine, girl. What's your name?"
Who is this Romero guy? And he literally looks a bit sketchy. I've noticed with all these story times, like, this really weird boy comes along and they like fall in love, and then he like cheats on her with their best friend.
I was too shy to respond, but he kept talking and even asked me out on a date. I said yes, even though he was quite creepy.
Well, that's not the best thing you could do. If you get creepy vibes from somebody, don't go on a date with them. That is literally how you're gonna end up in, like, I don't know, a bin bag in the middle of a field somewhere.
When we met, he always sat down right next to me, putting his hand on mine. Most girls wouldn't have liked it, but this was my first touch with another human being in years. It felt so good. He even started coming over to my house, and while I just wanted to play games, he often tried to kiss me.
Okay, so he's obviously coming over for other things. How old is this guy? Like, they didn't tell us. And I'm gonna judge a book by its cover this time. I think he's a lot older than her.
But I was only 14 and not ready for anything romantic, so I rejected his attempts. But even without kissing, we became a couple.
I mean, that's cute. Like, obviously she isn't ready to do that stuff. As long as she's got a good boyfriend there to take care of her, maybe she'll be open to stuff like that in the future. I feel like she just wants to be made comfortable.
I didn't mind how creepy he could be. Sometimes he stared at me for minutes without saying a word.
I mean, to be honest, I do that. Like, I've got a really bad staring problem. Sometimes if my mum's just like sat there, I'll just like stare at the back of her head and do nothing. It's kind of like with my friends on FaceTime. Like, we'll be speaking and then I just stop speaking and I just start looking at them. I promise it's not in a creepy way. I just get like distracted really easily.
But other times he just held my hand and it felt like heaven to me. At age 15, I allowed Romero to stay overnight and sleep in my bed.
Age 15, you were allowed to do that? I swear the nanny literally made her sit inside all day, so how is she allowed a boy in her room and in her bed? I'm telling you right now, my parents wouldn't even allow me to do it up until the age of 18. I mean, the majority of the time you know what's gonna happen. As long as they wear protection, I guess it's fine.
Maybe you can guess what happened next. I got pregnant and only found out about it when my belly grew bigger.
Yup, I forgot that this video was about her being homeless and pregnant. I literally forgot that she was literally pregnant. Like, that's so bad. I'm assuming she's gonna get kicked out. Also, a lot of the times if you are gonna have intercourse, definitely first of all wear a condom, make sure you're on like the pill, and even after that I'd have a few tests and just like pay in them just to like double check. You don't know, like, that contraception stuff might not have worked.
I told Romero about it and he got really angry, screaming, "How stupid do you have to be to get pregnant? My parents are gonna kill me if they find out."
Well, I mean, you did, like, you know, so theoretically it's not her fault, it's also your fault. Like, you can control it, you know when it's coming. Did you see what I done there? That was actually quite funny. But I will never understand why guys get mad at a girl whenever they get them pregnant. It's like you're the one putting your willy in them.
I responded, "Don't worry, I will keep it a secret." And Romero finally calmed down. You see, because of my social anxiety, I avoided conflict at all costs. Whenever Romero got angry, I did everything I could to make him stop screaming at me.
Oh no, that's not good. Like, that's gonna end up being toxic, isn't it? She's gonna take all the blunt and just like act like it's fine. Sometimes in relationships you argue with each other and it's not fine, and it's okay to be like that. You know, sometimes it's okay not to speak to each other for a few days if you're angry at each other. Don't take all the blame for something and feel guilty about it.
But I wasn't completely innocent either. I loved the idea of getting a baby. Finally, I would have a best friend.
I mean, I feel like every girl low-key wants a baby. Some girls get pregnant at the age of 16, 17, 18, 14, 13. You know, girls get pregnant pregnant at all ages. Some want it, some don't. I feel like everyone low-key wanted a baby whenever they're growing up. Like, I'm telling you right now, I wish I had a little baby. It probably would have died within a minute.
But while I was cooking myself dinner, my mother noticed my belly and asked, "Are you pregnant?" She hadn't talked to me in months, so this must have shocked her somehow.
I mean, yeah, of course it's gonna shock her. You're literally pregnant after you and her not speaking for months. I don't know how my parents would react if I got a girl pregnant. I mean, that wouldn't happen because I'm not attracted to them. But I feel like if I was a girl, they'd take it quite well. I mean, realistically, there isn't much you can really do. You have to be supportive.
She called my dad over, and when he saw my belly, he said, "You can't give birth and keep living here. You will give the baby away once it's born."
I've never understood why parents say that. Are you really gonna kick your daughter out of the house just because she got pregnant? Remember, you two had a baby. But like, I just don't understand it. Like, why are you forcing her to give the baby away? You don't know, it could be a blessing in disguise.
I wanted to say no, but was too afraid and just started crying. What if my baby would be adopted by a family that didn't care about it?
I mean, it's really hard to adopt a baby. It's literally impossible. So I'm telling you right now, if it was adopted, it probably would be in a caring family. Don't get me wrong, there's some adoptive parents who are absolute twat and will hurt a baby. That's like very, 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 very rare, and it still shouldn't happen in my opinion, but it's hard to tell. But I mean, the majority of the time, a adopted baby is given to a loving family, usually a family that can't have their own baby. So you giving away your child is making somebody's life so much better.
No way I would let that happen. So I came up with the most stupid plan any teenager had ever come up with. I bought a tent and decided to move into a forest once the baby was born.
Okay, you want to keep the baby. That's not a good way to keep it because you're gonna get arrested, put into a mental health facility, and your baby put into like care. I mean, there isn't really much you can do because like her parents don't support it. But the last thing you should do is literally go into a forest, live there with a baby. Like, that's so stupid.
But in my 36th week, my dad wanted me to sign the adoption papers, and when I refused, he told me to leave his house.
Isn't that like illegal? Like, she is literally a 16-year-old. Can you kick a 16-year-old out? Even though she's a teenager, she's still a minor. Like, she's still a child. She's not 18. This family seems so horrible. Like, her family's like that. I'm lucky because I've got a really heartwarming family who'd never do that to me.
Suddenly, I was homeless and spent my first night at a train station before I decided to check into a hospital. Everything went well, but when my baby was born, my dad snatched it away from me.
Snatch it back. It's your baby. I mean, remember, it is your child. He can't put it up for adoption for you. I'm telling you, in these animations, the parents are always psychos. Like, what is going on with these people's parents?
He attempted to leave the room, and for the first time in my life, I stood up to him, screaming, "That's my daughter, give her back!" I jumped on his back and bit him as hard as I could, while the doctors took my baby away from him. I think he even got arrested, but I didn't care.
Good, he deserves to get arrested. He literally tried to kidnap your baby. And fun fact, that actually does happen a lot. Like, there's been a few times where somebody's given birth to a baby, and some randomer will literally go in and snatch the baby. Imagine you're growing something inside you for like how many months? Like 8 months, isn't it? You push it out, it's painful, and then some random person snatches your baby. There's probably been babies that were snatched at a hospital that have never been seen again.
When I saw my daughter, I knew she was the only thing that mattered now. But I left the hospital with no money on me, so I had to sneak into my parents' house to get the tent and steal some food before I set up camp in a nearby forest.
I really hope she isn't gonna live in a forest because that's so stupid. Isn't there like places that pregnant women who don't have any money or any place to live can go? I swear there is women's aids, aren't there?
Like I said, I was weird and stupid. I hadn't thought about how cold it would get at night, and my baby kept crying non-stop. The next morning, the police woke me up. Apparently, homeless people aren't welcome, but when they realized that I was a teenage girl with a newborn, they brought me to a women's shelter.
Like I suspected, they took her to like a woman's aid. There are places like that. But I mean, if she stayed in the forest for any longer, she'd literally get the baby taken off her and her like arrested. That baby would have literally been put into care.
It was a weird place. It offered free food, but it was run by an aggressive trans woman, a man who decided to become a woman. Everyone was scared of her. One time, she came over to my baby and stole her pacifier. My baby started crying while the trans woman laughed about it.
Oh my god, this woman is evil. Why is she so evil? Who is this random woman? Like, why is she literally going up to little babies and making them cry? Don't get me wrong, I think it's really funny whenever babies like crying or like stupid, but I'm not that evil.
With this psycho near me, I couldn't stop worrying about my baby. How did I know this man wasn't just faking it so he could be around vulnerable women and hurt them?
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, that is is theoretically a tiny bit transphobic. That's not true. That doesn't happen. It's a very, very, very rare thing to happen. Don't get me wrong, I can understand why you're intimidated, but the majority of trans people are completely innocent, like they'd never heard a fly.
Well, Romero finally came to visit us. Until then, I hadn't thought of him as a father, but he seemed to enjoy playing with his daughter. I could tell it by the way he looked at her. At the end, he said, "You can't stay here. You aren't safe with those druggies around you." But where shall I go? My parents aren't the nicest people, but when they see the baby, they might change their mind and let you two move in with us.
I feel like that's like a lot of parents. That's definitely people with dogs. I always see videos online where like parents are like, yeah, we're not getting a dog, we're not taking care of it. The minute they bring the puppy into the household, the family fall in love with it, and it's all a happy story.
We arrived at his home and his mom opened the door. She was a big woman with a scar around her neck. She said, "Who is she?" And Romero responded, "I got her pregnant and now she needs a place to stay." You idiot! And who's gonna pay for the baby? Me? Are you freaking insane? You won't have to pay for anything. I will get a job and take care of her financially. Ha! So you drop out of school and become a loser like your dad.
Oh my god, this family has a lot of tension. I mean, I can understand why you're taking it out in the sun because it's maybe not the best thing for him to do. You're really gonna do it in front of the girl he got pregnant and the baby? Come on, mum, suck it up.
Just let her live here for a month. His mom took a look at the baby and said, "No way this thing is gonna move in here." We left disappointed, but the following week, Romero found a job as a cashier so we could rent a small apartment.
Okay, so he literally said that his mum would be fine with it, and his mum turned around and said absolutely not. She really done a full 180. She was like, nah, you ain't living here, mate.
I believed Romero wanted to become a responsible father, but instead, he became a bigger and bigger jerk. He enjoyed owning me and forbid me to leave the apartment unless I was with him.
Okay, so he is becoming a controlling boyfriend and father. I feel bad for this girl. Like, she really has had a traumatic life, hasn't she? Her parents didn't love her, her nanny didn't love her, she didn't have any friends, she got pregnant, she was homeless, and she's now like living with her psycho boyfriend.
His behavior got worse and worse until I finally had enough and spoke up to him. I said, "You don't respect me. You treat me like an object." "So what? I dropped out of school to take care of you. Show some gratefulness." I had enough. And while he was at work, I applied for several call center jobs because I wanted to become independent.
Honestly, become independent, be your own woman, be a girl boss, and move out. Realistically, this child doesn't need any of them people in their life because they're obviously not good people. All she needs is a loving mother like you.
I immediately got accepted and thought about dumping Romero, but I knew he would try to get revenge on me, maybe by taking 50% custody of our child.
Yeah, that's the sad thing whenever it comes to stuff like that, because he's like the father of the child. So like, it's her child, but it's also his child. He might be a horrible person, but like realistically, you can't take the baby away. And whenever situations like that get taken to court, the majority of the time, the really bad parent, like the really toxic one, will get full custody of the child, and like the one who's done nothing wrong will lose custody of it.
So instead of dumping him, I forbid him to touch or kiss me until he treated me with respect. Of course, he went berserk, and after just 3 days, he told me, "Fine, it's over. I hope both you and your daughter end up on the streets."
Oh my god, that's literally your child. You're gonna say that's your child? I swear he literally loved this child earlier in the video and now he wants it to literally be homeless. Okay, so guys, that was the end of the video. Moral of the story, some boys are trash, and if your literal like baby daddy is horrible, try to get away from them. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're, push the big red subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching this point if you have already, and just I'll see you all in my next video.